And this is the Tikkun Elevator Kolo presenting Jewish astrology, a cosmic science, some deep, deep stuff brought to us by this really holy guy, YAAKOV KRONENBERG. So we're going to come over here. We got to a section, the tribes and the flags, dominated by the number 12. This is chapter 10. We're getting close to the end of this little section that we're on. It says like this. During the last few chapters, we have been working on other groups of things which are divided into 12. Now, 12, he had said previously, and we've gone over this and looked at it. Of course, there's the 12 tribes, and then there's got 12 constellations. There's the 12 flags. But he wants to say that it's all based on the permutations of God's name, the 12 different permutations of the name YAAKOV. And he's saying like this, is that in our dark place, the light of God is shining on us, and it shines actually from the outside in this case. That's what we're looking at. Whereas the Uri talks about only from the light of God within everything, shining outwards. This is the idea of the light shining inwards, and it shines through the names and the combinations, the 12 combinations of the name YAAKOV. For how do we get to those other groups? Because we have learned that each of the permutations of God's name is connected to one of the 12 months of the year. Each month of the year has a different permutation of the main name of God, which contains the letter Yud, K, Vav, and K. This is how it is spelled. And also the Hayes are pronounced K in reverence to the name of God. This is how it is spelled. And then you take these 4 letters and permutate them 12 different ways. And each of these permutations rules over a different month and determines what is going to happen during this specific month. And so we talked about that. And then we got off from that and went into the topic of the 12 tribes of Israel. And this topic took us onto the other topics and subjects, which are divided into 12. But actually, before that, we also studied the 12 simple letters in the Hebrew alphabet. And we learned that there are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, plus they have 3 divisions. The letters of the Hebrew alphabet are divided into 3 groups. These 3 letters are called elementals. The 3 of the 12 are called elementals. And they are connected with the elements which are mentioned in Sefer Yetzirah. Now, this Reb YAAKOV KRONENBERG has been into the Sefer Yetzirah, and it's really very, very abstract. So if you can understand what's going on over there, kol hakavod. Because in Sefer Yetzirah, only 3 elements are mentioned, which are what? Which are fire, water, and air. And then there are several letters, which are called Bagad Karfat. Now, this is an abbreviation, acrostic. And they are the letters of Bet, which is the base of the Bagad, Gimel, Daled, Kuf, Pei, Et Resh, and Tav. These 7 letters are called doubles because they can be pronounced in a hard way or in a soft way. And then there are 12 letters, simple letters, which are pronounced only one way, so to speak. And those 12 letters are connected to the 12 tribes of Israel. Now let's go back over this one time for my own sake. And he says that then there are 7 letters which are called Bagad Kafrat. Said it wrong? And each one of these, the consonants here, refers to a different letter. And they are the letters of Bet, which goes with the base, and then the Gimel, which is the next consonant, and then the Dalet, which is another consonant. Then you come to Kof, which is, I think it's Kof, and then you come to Pei, and then just look at the consonants, and you can see how they go together. Now, these 7 letters are called doubles. Why are they called doubles? Because they can be pronounced either in a hard way or in a soft way. Well, let's take one for example. The Bet can be pronounced either as a bet or a vet. And the Gimel, well, in those days, it could be pronounced as a ga or a ja. And Dalet, well, there's 2 different ways to pronounce that. Not sure I know what all of them are. And then there are 12 simple letters. So after we go through them, there are 12 simple letters, which are pronounced only one way, so to speak. And those 12 letters are connected with the 12 tribes of Israel. Now that's an important part, with the 12 months of the year, and that's the 12 that are connected to the 12 constellations of the zodiac. And so we came to Sefer Yetzirah. Why? In order to learn the chapter which discusses these 12 letters which we have mentioned, and how they're connected with the months of the year, with the constellations of the zodiac, and with the 12 tribes of Israel, and of course their flags. He mentioned that earlier. So this is actually a recording that Reb Yaakov made, a series of recording, and I think some of them at least are available on the internet. And you could look them up, and you could listen to it and see the face of Reb Yaakov, and you can get those maybe 20 or 30 years ago already, because he's been around. So tonight, I'd like to carry on this text in Sefer Yetzirah. Let's see what you guys can say, because last week we took off and had a break from Sefer Yetzirah and studied the piece from the Rebbeinu Bechai. Remember that? About the flags, the tribes of Israel that the tribes of Israel had, because each of the tribes of Israel has its own flag. We talked about that. Let me move this up a little bit, see if I can get everything on the page. So its own flag. So again, we always want to get more and more information as we can, or as much as we can, on the different tribes of Israel and what their relationship is to the zodiac and the constellations, and how we can learn about the zodiac from the tribes, and how we can learn about the tribes from what really goes on in the Torah. So tonight he's talking about Sisrei Torah, about the secrets of Torah. So tonight I would like to start with one of the major commentaries to the chapter. Who would this commentary be by? We are studying in Sefer Yetzirah, and indeed this is one of the major commentaries on the whole Sefer Yetzirah, and it's been recommended to me, and I haven't been there yet. I have a copy, and this commentary is written by none other than the Gaon of Vilna, who was a great genius. And everybody in the Jewish religious world has heard about him, but unfortunately not so many secular Jews have heard about him, and if they did hear about him, they probably have not read anything written by him. So while we're here, why don't we bring down some of the writings of the Gaon? We shall quote some of his writings on this chapter, and we might bring some of the other commentaries too, and try to add more to our information about what we have been learning so far. Now, he's saying here that the 12 letters, there are 12 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, which actually represents the zodiac, they represent the constellations, they represent the tribes. So let's find out. So I am not going to literally translate what the Gaon of Vilna says here word by word, but I will give the main ideas of what he says using some commentaries on his writings. So he says, Reb Yaakov says like this. So let me start now. First of all, I would like to read the first Mishnah, because the Gaon of Vilna is going to talk about the first Mishnah of the 5th chapter. So this is what the Mishnah says. Now, Mishnah is a word for these are the rules. There are 12 simple letters, and these letters are the following: the Hey, the Vav, the Zayin, the Chet, the Tet, the Yud, Lamed, Nun, Samach, Ayin, Tzadi, and Kuf. Count them up, and you're going to find out that there's 12 of them. These are the 12 simple letters. They don't have a special pronunciation, or different pronunciations. They're just simple letters. And their manifestations are according to the following order. Now, let's try to see if we can figure out which one is which. Speech, thinking, walking or motion, seeing, hearing, action, intercourse, smell, sleep, anger, eating, and laughter. These are the 12 senses of the body. Let's say them one more time. First one is speech, then thought, thinking, walking, which means moving or motion, seeing, your eyes, hearing, your ears, action, you're moving, again, intercourse, smell for the nose, sleep, anger, eating, and laughter. Now, and each is going to be connected with one of these letters, and each one is connected with a different month too. Now remember, he said that the permutations of God's name have to do with how the light of the Almighty is shining at any one time. You can get more and more detailed about this. So now we are going to read a little bit of what the Gaon says. And he says like this: these 12 simple letters are called simple. Why? Because they don't have a hard and a soft sound. They said it before. So first of all, I'm thinking, well, sound apparently is a very important idea. That when you say a letter, like say the letter Dalet, like that da, the da sound, it produces a vibration. That's what I'm thinking. Because as we have said before, the elemental letters, which are called Bagad Kafrat, each one of them has a hard and a soft sound, like the letter Bet, which could be pronounced Bet, which is a hard sound. It could be also pronounced Vet, which is a soft sound. And the Gimel could be pronounced that way. It could be pronounced like Go, or it could be pronounced like the name of a Latin letter G, which is pronounced in English as a G. Instead of a G, it's a J. In other words, a hard Gimel is the way the letter G is usually pronounced, and a soft Gimel is the way the name of the letter G is pronounced in English. G is J. So that's interesting. So now the Gaon of Vilna is going to ask a question. Why not? He said, because even the letters Aleph, Mem, and Shin, take those, are also simple letters actually, because they don't have soft and hard sounds for each other. So then how do we put them in that category? So how come we have only 12 simple letters, and those 3 letters are not included? Why aren't they considered to be Mem, Aleph, Mem, and Shin? They only have Aleph as A, Mem is Ma, and Shin is Sh, like that. In reality, there should be 15 simple letters, which are only 12 considered. Why are only 12 considered as such? But in any case, these 3 letters, Aleph, Mem, and Shin, are called mothers. Now, why? Because the rest of the 22 letters came out from them. Now, he's saying like this: in the world that surrounds us, in the movement of the world, there's actually origins and children, like mothers and children. These 3 letters are the source of the remaining letters of the Hebrew alphabet, which are the double letters and the simple letters. So they all kind of came out to get somehow from these 3 mother letters, even these 3 letters themselves. So these 3 letters are called imachot, which means mothers in Hebrew, and they are the elements, the elemental letters. The letters, the 3 elements, and they refer to, what does it mean by elemental letters? They refer to the elements of the earth, of our world, which are water, fire, and air. Everybody has the element of earth too, but in Sefer Yetzirah, the earth is not considered as an element, but as a combination of different elements. Okay, this has to do with the Sefer Yetzirah, and we're getting a little view into something which is really, really deep. And he says, and these 12 simple letters are the secret of the 3 times which God's Havaya, his name, is mentioned in the verse, God is the king, or God rules. God was the king, or God ruled. And God will be the king. God will rule forever and ever. In Hebrew, it's Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach, Hashem Yimloch L'olam Va'ed. And these 3 times stand for Keter, Chochmah, Bina. Translated, crown, wisdom, and understanding. And there is a Yud, a He, and a Vav in the first Havaya, a Yud, a He, and a Vav in the second Havaya, and a Yud, K, and a Vav in the third Havaya. And the last, He, in each Havaya, is Malchus, which is the 4th to all the other 3 Sephiros. And then you have these additional 3 letters, which make 12 letters, when they are counted together with the other 9, which are mentioned above. In other words, the letters which represent Keser, Chochmah, Bina, that's the top, also known as the Gimel Rishonos, the first 3, are 9. And Malchut completes all of them, and thus they become 12. So now all of them will have 4 each, if these 12 letters are still divided into 3. Now I have to say that I don't think I understood this very well. And I'm going to matriach the listener here to go over it one more time. He says, and these 12 simple letters are the secret of the 3 times which God's name is mentioned in the verse, God is the king, God rules. That's YAAKOV, which is 4 letters. God was the king, or God ruled. And we're talking about, we could substitute the name Hashem for this, that is the name itself. That's 8 letters. And God will be the king forever and ever. So that's 12 letters. Now, and these 3 times, now you say these 3 times, Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach, Hashem Yimloch Lo Voed. They stand for also the first 3 spheros that we have discussed previously, which are Keser, Chochmah, and Bina, which could be translated in English, although they didn't really say what their functions are, as the crown, which is the very beginning of all, wisdom, which is the manifestation of what is inside of the crown, and understanding, which is the ability to be able to process this and make it into something more tangible. And there is a Yud, a K, and a Vav in the first Havaya. That is the first 3 letters, which stands for Chochmah Bina, Keser Chochmah Bina, perhaps. A Yud and a K and a Vav in the second Havaya, that's another 3. And a Yud and a K and a Vav in the third Havaya. Now that makes 9. And the last K, but then there's the name actually has 4 letters, Yud, K, Vav, K. And the last K in each Havaya is Malchus, the kingship, or Malchus is actually the ruling function in relationship to us, which is the 4th to all other 3, so that now you have 12. And then you have these additional 3 letters, which make 12 letters, when they are counted together with the other 9. Now, what he meant to say is like this. There's a Yud, K, Vav 3 times. This is what I think he means. And then on each one of them, and that's important to understand that those 3 letters are by themselves. So those 3 letters, and there's 3 sets of them, and they make 9. That is in this phrase, Hashem ruled, Hashem, what does he say? Let me get and then it says, yes, Hashem Melech, Hashem rules, Hashem Malach, Hashem did rule, and Hashem Yimloch, and he will rule, Leon Voed. Each one of those has 3 letters that we want to concentrate on, the K, the Yud, and the Vav. The Yud, the K, and the Vav. So he says, in addition to them, they also have an object. In other words, they represent light, the flow of light, into a receptacle. And each one of them has a receptacle, which is called the final Hey. So it's like a flow chart. It goes from the Yud to the K, the first K, and then it goes to the Vav, and then from that Vav, it goes to the final K. So each one of them has an extra 3, and then you have these additional 3 letters, which make 12 letters all in all. When they are counted together with the other 9, which were mentioned above, in other words, that is the Yud, K, Vav, Yud, K, Vav, Yud, K, Vav is 9. In other words, the letters which represent Keser, Chochmah, and Bina are 9 by themselves, and Malchus completes all of them, and thus they become 12. So now we're back on the number 12 again. So now all of them will have 4 each. If these 4 letters are still divided into 3, then if we still take the 12, if these 12 letters can be divided into 3, then you're going to have 3 sets of 12. 3 sets of 4, of letter, 3 sets of Yud, K, Vav, and then the final K, which is its receptacle. You have that 3 times in that statement. So we're gonna stop this right now, and we'll come back. We kind of worked out a little bit of a knot, I think, in that spot, and we'll try to come on to it as we go on.